1713.
And maybe we can talk now about exactly what happened.
Benjamin was staying with his brother-in-law, who is an abusive person, who's violently abused Benjamin. And his brother-in-law asked him to leave, and he wandered to the main road and went to a bar where he ordered an ice water, and then was approached from his right seeing side by...
Okay, so he's one in the subside, okay.
Yeah, he was, and they shouted at him. He did not process what they said. As he turned around, they grabbed his hand, pulled him to the ground, and said, "You're resisting arrest." He was watching wrestling on the television, drinking his ice water, thinking nothing was happening. He thought it was his brother, but it turned out to be 4 or 5 officers.
And why did they approach him?
Because the bar owner had called them for concern for Benjamin. Like, maybe he was one of his TBI things is he talks very loudly, frequently, or he kind of has a stumbling gait to do with the neurological aspects of the skull fracture and the blinding and the equilibrium. And that they assume he's drinking because he has an unsteady gait due to the TBI. He has possibly some tardive dyskinesia from all the heavy drugging, so that even exacerbates their misinterpretation of his physical composure.
Okay.
So they scrub his face across the floor. It's my understanding that we went to the bar where it happened, that he goes back across the floor this way. They slam his head, which if he impacts one blow can be lethal to his head, but they force their knee into his head as they crush him, uttering misogynistic profanities upon him about "don't be a blank, you can take it," as they beat him. And his blind eyes being scrubbed across the ground, blue, and in extreme levels of pain. His shoulder is being wrenched, and his elbow possibly got like a bit of a bone spur or some kind of embedded cuts, and then I don't know if it's embedded glass or shape. It doesn't look terribly infected, but it's constantly irritation.
I had got my close to my brother because my brother said, "Well,
To the right shoulder level?
right
The left eye was dragged with the right
Left elbow. Yeah, so it was coming this way. Yeah, and he's got severe, sharp, splitting pain headaches that come on like erratically, as well as sensitivity to loud noises, sensitivity to traffic, sensitive to overstimulation, and very severe nightmares. He wakes up flashing back. Sometimes I hear the story 10 times a day, at least. We go over, and the more he's telling it, I think the more therapeutic it is just for him to get it out. And
living
so, and formerly homeless as of 2 weeks ago. So he was homeless in process and all this, and being constantly harassed by them after the traumatic incident. Yeah.
So, left elbow, you think maybe is infected?
He thought it was something embedded. There's some kind of knob. Medically, I'm not sure if it would be a bone spur or a bit of bone that got shattered or dislodged, or you can see the incision marks.
Was there ever any type of like lesion or cut where it was open?
You might better ask him. Exactly. Yeah.
And so, what you're telling us is this reported by him to you?
Okay, hours and hours of discussion. Yeah.
All right, we can continue. So, is there more to the? So you had talked about the left eye, right shoulder, left elbow.
He's suffered 7 car accidents that I know of where he walks into traffic with his blind eye. And I'm trying very hard to protect him from any of that behavior. He's severely beaten by his one and only girlfriend, who is the mother of his child. She beat him, and frequently his domestic problems, where he was not a violent aggressor, but he was actually being abused as a disabled person. He's also been financially abused. He's had a gun pointed in his face in Portland. He's been mugged of all of his identification. So that itself is disorienting to anyone. And so, I mean, my primary goal is to keep him out of the psychiatric mainframe and have his medical and therapeutic needs met in a more holistic manner. Yeah, because they're trying to kind of cover up their crime trail of the police brutality and the ADA violations that occurred.
And I didn't even do anything. I mean, I don't get it. All I remember is leaving my brothers.
You guys are so inspiring. Thank you for doing this work.
Of course, we're happy to help.
Then I left at my brother's with some of my extra clothes, and
so he
some
had
of the clothes that I left there is all, here's some extra
trauma,
clothes, so I put them up
he
and
was
put
10
my
years
little
old.
extras
That
on.
wasn't
Yeah.
before.
A log split open his head, blinded his left eye. He was swollen as big as a basketball in his face, in a coma, and spent at least a year in almost complete sedation for recovery. And then I think his family must be heroic to deal with what they have done, but to me I see evidence of a lack of blind training. He was forced to work during his relationship with the abusive woman, so he basically was trained to be in denial of his disability, where I think that's why he's walking into traffic, why he's walking into the arms of the police being beaten up, is he doesn't have a safety vest, a brake, like a cane, that sort of thing.
Hey. This is Dr. Vesley.
Hi, Dr. Vesley. Nice to meet you. Mary Eng, yeah, Ann Eng.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Dr. Vesley.